welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wealth.
Well, you're with the last segment of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. That's right, every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on your hometown's AM 1220 KHTS, where we share with you all kinds of great information. But what's nice is the show is weekly, and we also have a weekly or a daily blog actually now called the National Real Estate Cafe. We've been doing it for about 2.5 years. That basically gives you a daily update of what's happening in the real estate market, the financial market, and so on. And most of the time, we're basically debunking fake news. I swear, that's the media likes to spin things and scare you, but we give you the real trends, real information. And you can find that by going to donandgino.com. Always a great hub. Click on the National Real Estate Cafe, or you can get them sent to your phone by texting NREC to the number 58885. And also to debunk fake news, we bring in experts like Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions, our chosen guru with America's Professional Resource Group, and our own personal financial planner. And, I got to give you a plug. This is good stuff, because this is what we don't always get to hear, and so because we refer some of our clients your direction, because you've done a great job with us. And one of our toughest clients, you'll admit.
I know who it is.
Yes.
Yep.
She's a good, these are two of my really good friends, two of my best friends, and I love them to death. I've grown up with my whole life. She is a spitfire. She's tough, and he's super sweet and nice, but you literally took over their entire retirement platform and all that. And I just saw him recently. When you refer, you always got to hope everything's working out. His retirement's a big deal. And he's like, your guy that you sent me to, I love him. Because my prior guy did nothing for me for 15 years. And Chris is killing it for me. I love that guy. So kudos, dude, man. Nicely done, man.
Thank you.
And that was a legit from one of my good friends. And he's like, I love him.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's like in his 70s going, woohoo.
Yeah. And he's a cool guy.
He's a very cool
nice guy.
Yeah, but you're protecting him, you're taking care of him. And you're keeping Marcia in check. I don't have to say the last name, but that's tough. So you must be doing a hell of a job, because I know she's probably calling you on every I and crossing every T.
She's good. She's one of those people that she does notice things, and she'll call with the, what is this number exactly? And I'm like, man, you got deep into that statement. Good for you. Not many people do.
Page 16B.
But they're another one we talked about in the previous segment. That we dealt with investment properties and talked about what the plan was with all that real estate, and they were ones that we were very thorough with what was the plan for the real estate in that portfolio. And so
Again, because it's not a liquid asset. So, now if you don't have real estate liquidity and you need real estate liquidity, if you're retiring and you need maybe that money to be able to live on for the rest of the next few years, it's not a bad time to liquidate some real estate potentially, depending on what your needs are.
it might it might make sense. You've held it this whole time for the purpose of having this asset or the liquidity at some point to be able to use for retirement.
Yeah, and they've done well with it.
Sometimes that means
it's
you
going to
gotta
work
sell it.
out well for them for their retirement, without a doubt. They've held it for quite a long time.
So before we went to break, though, we were talking about the market being peaky. Or frothy.
Toppy.
Yeah, any one of those words, right? Yeah. Whatever channel you're on, they're all going to call it something. Bubble, whatever.
Yeah. So, so how do we want to start this? So we talked about it a little bit in the break. There's a quote by Peter Lynch, and I'm going to butcher the quote because I don't have it written in front of me. But basically what he says in the quote is that more money has been lost anticipating a correction or trying to avoid a correction than has actually been lost in a correction.
Right. So to break that down, I'm going to say basically the money you left on the table in gains is more than what you would have lost if there was a correction.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Just for the layperson.
Yeah. So, and it's an interesting quote because, right now everybody's saying, watch for the correction and get out of the market and move to cash and all these kinds of things. And so there's a lot of fear. Now, that also has been happening for a couple of years now.
Right. Yeah, we've been here for years.
Yeah. I mean, I remember getting into a little, Facebook war with some people on Facebook a couple of years ago because there were actually other advisors that were hitting this post with, all this information of why the market was overvalued and everybody needed to move to cash and all these issues. And we were talking about slowdown in China GDP at the time and all these issues that everybody was so terrified about. And if you listened to all of that a couple of years ago, you missed a very good market.
Run.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
A very good market.
So just to bring something to light is that sometimes historical knowledge of the markets doesn't apply because the things have changed. And when you look at it, we're in the first global economy that has accepted government stimulus as okay. Right. In the past, that would have never been okay. So when you're seeing economies start to tank, or when you're seeing problems like deflation, or things that in the 30s or 40s might have destroyed a country, it won't happen today.
Right.
Well, we're
So we'll
still
see some
coming
artificial
out of one of
stimulus.
the worst recessions since the Depression. I mean, that's when you go that far down. There's a lot of upscale. We talked about the real estate market.
Definitely.
Everybody's saying it's topped out too.
Right.
But we just caught up to 2006. Values. So we still have normal appreciation levels still to go, what we feel anyways, in the real estate market.
Right.
And I think you're kind of going that direction possibly with
Well, I mean,
stock
so
market.
the market, if you look at the underlying PE, price to earnings ratio of the market, a market looks overvalued. I mean, let's be honest, the market is high from where we want it to be right now. The question is does that mean that it ends here, or can it go higher? Because historically, that we've been higher. So could we still run more? Sure. So trying to pinpoint valuations are too high, I need to get out now, could force you to get out of the market prior to the market continuing to run. So you got to look at all these other variables and factors and calm down and not panic and make smart decisions and educated decisions on what's right for your portfolio. What does your time horizon look like? What does your risk tolerance look like? What are your goals? And all these different factors that play into what you should do under the circumstances. But there is probably some reason to make some changes to a portfolio given what we've seen over the last couple of years.
I mean, you don't have to be all in or all out.
Well, that's the thing, is that I get clients that call me up and say, hey, this market looks a little toppy. Should I just move all my assets to cash? And so what I think a lot of people make the mistake of is it's all in or all out. And sometimes it is, hey, this market looks a little overvalued. Maybe I should reduce my equity exposure a little bit and maybe reduce it in some areas that look extremely top heavy, and maybe increase my fixed income exposure or other areas of the portfolio to make some adjustments or tweaks to the portfolio. I saw an article the other day and I thought it was interesting. The gentleman basically was saying that a correction was coming, and he said from this point he felt that over the next decade the market would average about a 4% rate of return. So what he's saying is with the correction and with the rebound and everything else, you're probably going to average about 4% if you just rode it all out. So you kind of go back to that and look at it and go, if that's the real scenario, it's not great. You don't want to just earn 4% in your money over the next 10 years. So if you can do some things to help that, that would be awesome. But if you do nothing and you ride out a correction and you have to work your way through it over the next 10 years, you still made a 4% rate of return on your money. It's not like you lost all of your money like everybody is anticipating. Everybody's anticipating this like, I'm devastated and I lost everything. And the reality is, maybe your rate of return is a little bit lower and you had to go through a big up and down, but you still made money and you did okay.
You have to have two things, right? You have to have you have to have the liquidity to be able to stay in the market when everybody's getting out, right? Like Bill Dallas likes to say, our CEO, the most important thing about real estate is being able to keep it. Those who've been able to keep real estate 30, 40 years have done fine. You just can't sell at the bottom.
Right.
And it's the same. It's true for stocks. If you're able to hold it, I mean, 4% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is outpacing inflation for at least the last decade.
Yeah.
And
build up a cash supply so that when it pulls down and your portfolio's down, you can put more money in there. You know, the Warren Buffett school of thought, well, he doesn't buy stocks when they're at retail price. He buys stocks when they're on sale. So you build up some cash and work and save some money so that when the pullback happens, you can double down on some of those investments.
Same with the real estate.
Yeah.
All right, great advice as always, Chris. So if you're looking for some great advice and somebody to bounce off your portfolio with or your options with, reach out to Chris Ingram. How can they get a hold of you, buddy?
Look me up online. So my website is www.ingramfinancialsolutions.com. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Go there. It has
Great
all of my
website.
information. It's got my email address, phone number, everything.
All right. Thanks again, Chris, for being part of our show, always adding value to our personal lives and the lives of our great guests. Thank you for joining us every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Make sure you check out more by going to donandgino.com. Have a great weekend.